And we are live.
Hello.
Hello, folks at Instagram. This is our first multi-stream to Instagram and YouTube. We tried last week, but it I think I forgot to hit a button. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Farnell on Instagram. Nice to see you in there. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We have a great amount of people tuning in right now. 27 people on YouTube as well. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a couple platforms going. Instagram commenters, it's a bit harder for us to see your comments, so you might take a second for us to reply to you. But we're happy to answer your questions. I think there was a lot of people in the Instagram one.
Yeah, let's check it out. But yeah, today we are deconstructing a track that we both started in a couple streams ago. Yeah.
K the kid is here.
Speak to the kid, please. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So basically, I had an idea, and it's split screen all the time. Just a sec.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I had an idea on a track, and it was basically an 8-bar loop, and we spent the stream kind of expanding it into arrangement, and then I took a couple weeks and I kind of finessed it a bit. We're using a bunch of Lander Studio plugins, and we have a special code for you for 30% off Studio yearly, and I'll be giving that out midway through the stream. So if you want to check that out. But let's switch right to the DAW screen for the YouTubers, and we'll get right into it. Nice. Cool. So basically, if I hit tab here and you can see the live view, this is kind of what we were starting with before. So we had a bunch of 8-bar phrase clips. We brought it into the arrangement window, and then we just hit duplicate a bunch to fill out this form. So we had intro, build-up, verse, chorus, blah, blah, blah. So
it was a 16-bar loop.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And we went through sort of the intro. We used the markers there.
Yeah.
To tell us what we were doing, thinking about the intro, the build-up, the first verse, chorus, and in that session we had gotten, I think, to the first chorus, right?
Yeah.
So after that, you worked on it. You finished the song.
Yeah, and I came up with a really cool jam for this break part. So let's get right into it. So I was thinking, instead of playing the whole song because it's kind of long, we'll just go section by section and just see where we're going. And feel free to drop questions in the chat. I see James in the chat. Hey, everybody. At least say hi to James, guys. And he told me today, actually, before we get started, if I say smash that like button on YouTube, the like button actually glows. So be sure to smash that like button and let me know if it glows. Anyone?
Yeah, smash that like.
Smash that. Is it just exploding right now, guys? Smash that like button. Yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to play the intro, and we'll just kind of walk through what I was thinking, and then go through any plugins on the chains here. I'm not 100% on the mix, but I do have a fresh...
Hey, well, we could use that time for a little bit of mixing if we get to it.
Yeah, I put the mastering plugin on, and then I have that mix checker plugin as well that we can get into.
Cool.
Cool. Let's get into it. So here's the intro, and then we'll go up to the build-up. Right away, I'm hearing this is too loud.
Nice long intro.
All right, so tell me your thoughts so far.
I mean, you got a nice build up.
Cool.
I like the you're going with a long intro. That's a
Yes.
pretty long intro.
It is.
Maybe I would maybe go half.
Yeah?
For me, it just has some my feedback. But
Yeah.
but for all you producers out there, having a long intro is good because DJs like to if you're making music for DJs, you gotta think about the DJ using your music in a mix, right? So
yeah.
that's why it is sometimes, especially if you're doing like a radio mix or like a DJ mix, it's good to have a longer intro in a DJ mix because it makes it easier to bring in the track, and if it's kind of fits because you had it 16 bars, I think, for the.
Yeah, that's right.
So you brought in the drums after 8 bars in the second part there, but it's good to have it just something predictable for DJs to work with if you're envisioning your track being something that a DJ would use. And this is the kind of music, we're making house. What genre would you call this?
I've been getting into like I said, Ben Bomer and like the melodic house kind of chill house genre. And I kind of like ripped this intro off from a different track, and I think it was a DJ mix is why that's maybe so long.
Right, yeah.
But I've kind of been, because like in sync music, you would want to like really make the intro count because that's the first thing the person hears. But like for this, I feel like I'm kind of getting used to those big 16 bar phrases.
Yeah.
And like slowly introducing elements and like kind of just.
I mean, I felt like you did a good job of that there. I mean, the intro to me, it felt long, but I know what you're doing. I think it makes sense to have it be really stripped down and then make it slowly come in. This is for a certain genre where you are making music that is intended to be DJ'd or like played on like in a mix context too. So, it made sense to me, but I don't know. Yeah, that was my only really.
That's good feedback.
Yeah, it's some feedback. No, I like the intro.
Nice.
It just was long. I was a little bit surprised by how long it was. But beyond that, I don't know. The full beat comes in at the chorus. Let's hear that. Is that the full beat, the whole thing?
Yes, almost. It gets a bit more intense in the second chorus, but.
I found like I could hear I was like in the verse there. I really noticed the other bass line too. I think so. It was a bit of variety there. I felt like there's like the other kind of more bobbing bass line. I don't know how to describe it.
Right. Yeah. Like the pulse bass.
Yeah. And there's you have a chord progression. What's the chord progression? I'm noticing that this time around.
Yeah, so basically I kind of teased at the main motif. So you can hear the melody is like in the leads. It's like da 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 da. And so in the verse it just comes in like just those two notes. What are people saying over there? Deep house. Yeah.
You're making deep house, Adil? That's cool.
Nice.
But
yeah, let's look at some of these sounds. So this track started with the foundation of just this piano sample that I found on Lander Samples, and I chopped it up, and then I found I think there was complementary chops in there, so you can see it's the same sample here. Okay. And I just wanted to get a groove going.
Right.
Something that has a nice pedal point that I can kind of write chords over. I think that helps me the most.
So what is pedal point? Just for
pedal point, for it's a classical term where you have the same note or set of notes that doesn't really change tonality. So like a good pedal point is like a root and a fifth. So like C and G, and then an octave. Then you have so many chords that work over that, and it's a great way to get started because you can kind of feel the music a bit, and then when you play certain chords, they have a feeling over that pedal point, which I really like.
So it creates a central tonal, it's not a tonal center. That's the wrong word, but it's like you build the chords around these two notes, and then that gives you your chord progression.
Yeah, exactly, and it's super inspiring. I love it. And then so if you listen to the pads, that has the chords in it, and we'll get into the processing after. But yeah, if you see anything and have any questions, let us know in the chat. We love you in the chat, and smash that like button.
Smash that like, please.
Smash it so we get some lights. Lots of delay on that one. Let's go through, like, there's so much to go
Yeah,
through,
let's
but
keep
like,
going.
yeah, let's, on the pianos, basically, I have this MoTT that I tried from Slate, and it's pretty cool for bringing out some of the high end. I'm automating a ton of stuff with Shaperbox, and that comes in the break, and that's really cool. That was like an accident that happened. Actually, let's just show it, because it sounds pretty sick.
Is that a drop you have there though?
Yeah.
So why don't we hear like 4 bars out from the drop and how that works too?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a nice way to create space in a mix and. That's a full beat.
This drop kind of sets up the break.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah. It's such a
Those are
jam.
really cool. I really like those like marimba-y, like plucky sort of like
Yeah, let's get into that.
That's new. I think that was new from last week.
Yeah, so I was setting up this jam, and I wanted to kind of like, put certain elements. I don't know, I was getting really into the groove.
Yeah.
But I basically automated this shaper box. So for those who don't know, you can get the Time Shaper module in Lander Studio, and this is a good placement for a coupon.
Yeah.
If you use Lander Live 2024 at checkout, that's LANDRLIVE 2024, you get 30% off Lander Studio yearly.
And that includes Shaperbox, a ton of other plugins,
Yeah.
Lander mastering, distribution, a whole bunch of stuff. So go give that a look. But the Shaperbox is a kind of fun plugin. What were you doing with that?
Yeah, so you get the Time Shaper in Lander Studio, but if you grab the full suite, and like after you grab Lander Studio,
Time Shaper, right? My bad.
you after you get Lander Studio, you can upgrade Shaperbox to Shaperbox 3 for pretty cheap because you already have the time thing. So I was looking through the presets, and I started automating the master mix on this bubble adder. So here's what it sounds like, just like.
Hey, thanks, Bonfire. I'm glad you like the break.
So basically, it's like automating this mix knob, and I can see it here if I open this up. That was like a happy surprise, to be honest. Here's the automation. So it's going in and out of this Shaperbox preset.
So that's super crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was I felt,
So
Happy
we have
accident.
an interesting question from the chat.
yeah.
Going back to the drop, Diety is asking about the transition and how do you create the feeling that something big is happening. And one thing I noticed was there's a bit of a filter coming in, like everything. For one, the arrangement drops out. There's less stuff happening. Like there's just I think there's only 1 or 2 synth things happening there. No drums.
Yeah.
And then you're bringing in, there's some filter automation, using the automation lines.
Yes.
So I think that the bringing in the highs, because it's a low pass filter.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
bringing in the highs brings in more intensity. Right.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
Can you explain us your method for doing this that drop, and for Diety and for everyone else who's
Yeah, for
interested in
sure.
transitions like that?
Let's just listen to it again, because I wrote the break before I wrote the buildup. So you can hear the elements of the break are in the buildup. So it's setting up that groove, which I thought was pretty cool. So you can hear that auto filter, and I think it's that one. So I boosted the resonance so you can kind of hear the filter coming in. But yeah, I've automated this frequency knob. So the more highs you take away, the further away something sounds for you, because your hearing is used to hearing a lot of high end, because people's voices are often in the high
It's
mids.
the outside of the club effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I had another
You're using a riser.
Yeah, there's a riser, and then I'm automating even another auto filter on this one sound here. You can see it here. It's coming up. Maybe on Instagram you can't see it. I have to be aware that it's only like a 9x16 thing, but But yeah, I use that all the time in many genres of music. Just take away the highs. This whole intro is just, automating track volume and auto filter, bringing in the highs, and then you have room to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of grabs the listener's ear because they're like, oh, something's happening, instead of just like the same thing over and over, which this music tends to get repetitive in my opinion, but I like kind of getting into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the drop, the breakdown, and then creating a sense of something big is about to happen.
Yeah, so I started I got that groove going, and I'm like, okay, I should probably reintroduce some of the melodic elements. So you can hear now the main melodies coming in over this break. That's the main chords. And then I'm introducing something almost every 8 bars. There's a shaker.
Aram H asks, the first drop comes 3 minutes into the song. Is that correct? That's what the question. It comes a few minutes into the song, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is a long one.
Yeah, you got to wait for the drop.
Yeah.
It's just an artistic choice. You can put the drop 30 seconds into the song.
Honestly,
it's up to you.
I think arrangement is one of my weakest things. I really have, and there's so many different arrangements depending on genre. Like everyone knows the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a rule about where you put a drop in, but
no.
an arrangement, it's a lifetime really, and it takes confidence in your decision.
Yeah,
you're
and yeah. No, I was suffering with that last night because I was working on a new track because I want to put out an album or something. In this genre.
That's cool.
Yeah, something to work towards. But
Yeah,
I was having a time, man. I was like, what am I doing?
I mean,
it happens to
you
everyone.
can have multiple edits of a song too. You can just kind of anyway. I think the song's 8 minutes, Aram.
Is it?
Or is it 6?
I think it's because it starts a bit.
6 minutes. No.
It starts about 15 seconds in, and then it ends around 6:30. So it's about 6 minutes.
Yeah, 6 minutes then.
Yeah. I think that the arrangement that I used, what happened?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Everything's good.
Oh, nice. The arrangement that I used, I looked at a different song and then grabbed the arrangement from there. But where was I? So now we have the verse, and I kind of just completely dropped everything off, and I did another pedal point, but this time in the bass. So people are used to hearing how the bass changes. And here I just kind of kept the same bass note. So, and it builds this tension because you think it's going to go somewhere, but it's not. And it has the same melody. Same bass note, tension's building. And then when those chords come in, it really hits home because people are used to the bass staying the same. And then I'm reintroducing stuff that was in the break.
This is a really full beat.
Yeah, it gets even fuller.
Yeah.
Then stuff from the break starts coming in.
That bubbly synth line.
Yeah.
So this is the most full the beat will get.
Yeah.
In the whole 6 minute mix.
And then we have the breakdown and outro, which is kind of like a reverse intro, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's. Any more questions in there, and then What is Anthony's DJ name going to be? I'll announce that when it's ready, I guess, just so I don't, commit to something and then completely change it. But yeah, let's go.
It's a nice track.
Yeah, I like it. I like how it turned out. It's like my first big track in this genre. Like we've made a lot of 16 bar loops here and there on the stream, and like I'm used to the cinematic music, and I kind of want to bring that vibe to this, but have it more for DJs and clubs would be cool. So
it's a different game because cinematic is you're very constricted with time. You have a minute max.
Yeah, it depends on what you're writing.
Right, but it's like rarely are you going to be doing a 6-minute like trailer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I can hear the influence a little bit. You certainly know how to create like ambiance and space in certain areas. Like you're creating quite a especially at the end. I noticed how much like just I don't know, space and like the sense of like kind of explosion and then like cool off. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of ingrained in my productions. And then like I have a tendency to overlayer, and then the mix starts getting really hard because I have too many layers. And remember, like, I don't know if Tim's watching. I remember he said that once. He's like, it's too complicated. Make it more simple. And I'm guilty of that because I just like messing around. But
yeah, I mean, I like. So I think my favorite part is definitely the time shaper bubbly loop thing. It reminded me of PC music a little bit. I kind of had that vibe. I don't know if you ever checked out that outfit, that label, but it's sort of like
I'll check it out.
Like hyper pop kind of taste.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever taken a look at hyper pop music, but it had that kind of energy to me, and I really like that stuff. So
yeah, like I got a groove going, and then like I was like, how can I fill these gaps? And then I found some more samples. I found like this sound on Lander. Where is it? Just to fill the gaps there. There's a reverse kick there. Where's that thing though? Is it this thing?
I really like this part. Like it's definitely my favorite part. There's a couple questions here.
Yeah.
So Anthony, how did you create such a full sound? It tickles every part of my ear. And then a similar question. I'm watching this on my phone right now, and I can hear the bass well through my phone speakers. How did you do that?
Nice. Good questions. Let's start with the first one. A full sound, I think you can always benefit from using something like this and just knowing what each instrument covers. So you have your sub bass. What's going to cover that? It's going to be like a sub bass sine wave if you're producing in this genre.
That's in like the 45 to 60 hertz
Yeah,
range?
40 to 60. And then a kick drum's going to be like, depending on what you're doing, 60 to 100. And then I have like a mid bass that's like 80 to over here in the low mids. And then, here's where you get the overtones of that. And then you have some lower elements. And then there's a lot of like energy here with the pads and the leads and if you have voice and stuff.
Do you want to play and show kind of?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, sorry.
So like you can see there's a lot of energy in the low end.
Yeah. There's the kick. Oh, I got to bring that down. I don't know what happened there. I have this like pedal point thing. But yeah, it's just thinking about your arrangement and what's filling it. If you have too many elements in one area, which I tend to do, and then I end up cutting a bunch of frequencies, and then it's kind of like counterintuitive.
Makes it sound thin. Just makes things sound thin, or
it's just it makes it sound harsh, or there's too much energy in one area, and like
especially the highs, like that's where things can sound are easily made harsh.
I always have a problem right here.
Yeah.
This is like the most sensitive area to our hearing. And so if you have too much energy there, it gets like your ears get fatigued from listening to it. But yeah, the answer is really arrangement and like knowing what area each sound covers. Like if you think of an orchestra, the orchestra, is made for an orchestral arrangement, and you have certain instruments that cover certain ranges, and all together they create this full sound. And it's just choosing sounds that complement each other in this whole range that we can hear in, right?
Well, and every instrument has its own sort of timbre, and
And it has its own overtones.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And they complement each other sometimes, and sometimes they clash, and that's why you either delete the instrument from your arrangement or you use EQ to tame clashing frequencies, and that just comes with experience and like.
Or you might pick like a different like octave or like area on like notes. Like higher, like if you have a synth line that's not coming through, like maybe it should be a bit higher.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
It should be a bit lower because you have another part that's in the same like octave range.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's like a simple arrangement solution.
Yeah, and if we look at the layering, I think I did do that in some of these things. So like I have 2 pads here. So let's listen to this one. This is cool. I took this synth and I chucked it through like this organ speaker. It's funny.
So let's show a little hack for showing how you can get phone speakers to produce better bass with Audified Mix Checker. Is that something Audified Mix Checker can do?
That's like to check your bass. Well, let's get into that. I just wanted to show like, let's listen to this pad. It's like more of the mid energy. Right. You can see it here in the mids.
Right.
And then this one, it's kind of in the same range, so they could clash.
Mm-hmm.
But now you hear this one. This is
higher.
An octave up, so it's kind of filling out those sounds.
And you've cut out the bottom end with a filter cutout.
Yeah, so I cut off like the bottom end of it, and then using EQ. Like now I know this isn't going to take up this area, so I'm not going to get a muddy thing, and then it's not going to take up too much of the highs, so I have room for my hi-hat and stuff like that. So it's all thinking about your arrangement and then working that way. But yeah, let's get to the bass thing.
Yeah. How do you get good bass on your iPhone sound, like kicking like on such a tiny speaker?
There's tons of ways to do that. We have some good videos on that. Check the YouTube channel, but I'll explain some stuff here. So the mid bass, it's not even touching the sub frequencies. I have it like at 100, and then I have it boosted a tiny bit. So let's listen to that. I have it going through Lander Effects Bass, which is a great plugin to just kind of blend in something. I have a bright and wide preset, so let's listen before that.
If you like this plugin, you can get it with Lander Studio.
Yes, Lander Live 2024 for 30% off.
Use that code at checkout.
Yes. This is before. Here's after. You can hear the higher frequencies. Those are the frequencies that are coming through a cell phone. And then I have some distortion on there.
And that's another Lander Studio plugin, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah, this distortion is insane.
It's great. It's also
I'm like using it on almost everything. Like you can go as extreme as you want, or you can kind of just blend in a little bit. But yeah, that's basically how you do it. That's how people do it. They distort it. Distortion creates overtones on whatever you're putting through it. Those overtones are more likely to come through on smaller speakers.
Higher frequencies.
Yeah, because the speaker's so small, so it can't produce.
And distortion excites like a bass tone at all frequencies, right? So that's why it would punch through.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's keep moving. Let's look at the low bass. So this is the sub bass. What did I do? I think I have Lander bass on there again. I just chucked this on because I thought it sounded pretty cool.
Another question.
It kind of widened it a little bit.
There's a question.
Yeah.
From Aram. Do you EQ each instrument / track? Do you put EQ on every instrument
I used to when I was first starting out, because I thought that's what you had to do. But like you don't need to. People say go in, chuck an EQ, and then put a high pass on to clean up the low end. You don't have to do that. Sometimes you could just put a low shelf if you have too much energy there. But like, I don't know. It's really about arrangement, then your balance, so your levels, and then you EQ to taste or whatever. You don't have to put an EQ. But yeah, even like some EQs just have a cool sound to them. Like there's this Need 73 console EQ that's also in Lander Studio. And you can see I didn't touch any knobs here. I just chucked it on And the sound of the emulation of this hardware, the Neve console, just made it sound really cool.
And that's a vintage console that was used back in like the 60s, right? Like that kind of.
Yeah, it emulates like a console desk.
Can we get an A/B of like what that does to the sound?
Let's listen to it before. And then
so a little more like clear at the high end, I found.
It excited it just a tiny bit, but like, what did I do? I flicked this analog switch on.
Just made it analog, make it more analog. Please.
Yeah.
And you didn't touch a setting on it. You just said
no.
Sometimes you just that's EQ. That can be EQ. Like
exactly.
Does it not moving a knob even? Just put just something on it.
Yeah, just the color of something.
So
right?
It really at the end of the day it is just what do you like? Like close your eyes and don't look at the knobs and just say like, do I like how this sounds, and then what would I change about it?
Right. And it gets overwhelming because there's so many tools, and like you just have to know what you like, and then you just chuck it on. There's no wrong answer. It's just like if you like that sound.
With the Spectrum Analyzer, what plugin were you using? Diety's curious.
Oh yeah, this is called Span. It's a free plugin, and the way I use it is I changed this. I learned this on YouTube somewhere, but I changed this like smooth thing to a quarter of an octave, and then I crank the average time. So it's giving me more of a longer time readout. So over time, I can see if specific areas are starting to build up, because like if you look at like the default version, it's really like all over the place.
That's a really good tip, Anthony.
When I first learned that, I was like, oh, that's great. Because like then you can see like if there's any problems with your arrangement right away. Like I think I just got rid of the preset, but I have to
Let's cut that into a TikTok later.
Yeah, this is the best preset for hearing problems with your arrangement. This is the best. Okay. We'll do it after.
You'll see that on TikTok later.
Yeah.
Where were we? We were answering questions about EQs. Can we just get we were going to look at the Audified Mix Checker to see how that, how does that influence? Because that's a way to check different speakers, if I understand that tool.
So this plugin emulates different listening environments, and
like your iPhone speaker, like your AirPods, if you're mixing and you want to know how something might sound on a different thing, let's say on a iPad, whatever.
Phone speaker.
So if you're like, oh, I wonder how this would sound on a phone speaker, and you don't want to like bounce your mix and go check it, you can actually just use Audified Mix Checker.
Yeah, and even if you just want to hear it in mono, like sometimes that's good for balancing. You can do that with the utility plugin in Ableton, but mono is great for balancing if you're doing volume. That delay, man. If you're doing any volume changes, mono is great. But then like I like to use this. You don't want to listen for, color or tone. You just want to listen for balance when you put one of these filters on. Like what maybe is popping out on this filter that isn't popping out when you hear it in your headphones or in your studio monitors. So let's check out the white headphones. And this might be a bit harsh on if you're listening on the phone. It's going to be a double whammy. But so right away, I can hear that clap is like dominating. So maybe I turn the clap down just a tad. Let's listen before.
Oh, that's cool.
This one is really good for checking your bass because it's going to take away all the sub frequencies, and then you can kind of hear a good representation of where your bass is sitting, in my opinion. Like that's what I like to use it for. And also, getting a general balance, all of these are great for.
Yeah, that's really cool. It just saves you time. I mean, it's always fun to do like a little car test once you're really close to finishing a song. But if you're looking if you're just curious, if you have that inkling, what will this sound like?
Yeah.
It's a great tool, and it comes with Lander Studio. So
Yeah, and then obviously I have the Lander mastering plugin here, and I have it running through. I did some mild adjustments here. I'll turn that off. See, here's before, and then after. You can hear the delay. You can hear it. I don't know. Whenever I hit that bypass button, it just it's like there's this relief that happens in the mix. It really cleans up all of the mud somehow that I should probably fix in the mix in the first place. This is a great tool for doing that. You create a master, kind of listen to it, check out what it's done to your mix, and then you go in and fix it afterwards. It's such a helpful tool. But yeah.
Deity finds it hard to mix pad and strings. So
yeah, those are conflicting instruments. So that's one thing where you have your pads playing the lower part and your strings playing above them, or the opposite way. Like you can have like a cello kind of thing happening and then the pads on top. But yeah,
isn't that part of the problem where you have like two similar frequency ranges and that causes what's called frequency masking, right? Is that a masking issue?
It could be.
Yeah.
That happens, I think, more frequently in the low end because the waves are going so slow that it's more common.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, listen to it without one another and then kind of make that decision. But yeah, it's likely just a problem with your arrangement and where the notes are, and then you can kind of get into EQ and stuff if you need to. But yeah, I mean,
okay,
let's look at the pads. Putting on my preset here. And then we got this. Sorry. So these things are kind of complementary, but I find that these piano sounds are living just above the pads. So like thinking of arrangement in these huge groups helps as well. But obviously it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be stuff clashing and you have to make that decision. Yeah, any more questions there? How's everyone doing? How's the Instagram doing?
I'm having trouble scrolling through it.
It just kind of it shows everyone that joined and left forever.
I think the scroll button's not really working that well for some reason. I don't know. That plugin is so cool. Well, thanks.
Yeah, mix checkers.
Who are you guys? I'm Alex. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm Anthony.
Hi, DJ.
We're
Bay 87.
We work here at Lander, and we co-produce sometimes. And Alex gives me amazing feedback. Alex works on the blog a lot, and I work on the YouTube. And Alex is on the YouTube, and I'm on the blog, and it's a great. We have a fun time. Let's take a look at the drums. We haven't touched there, and like that. This is one of the. I don't know. I had a hard time. I think in this genre, I'm not used to it, so I don't know sometimes stylistically what sounds to go for. I don't think it matters too much anymore, but
yeah. I like the drums, the way you brought them at the end. It sounded pretty powerful to me. Yeah, specifically this part. So were you just putting in like loops? Were you using one shots? What was your process with with finishing this off?
A lot of loops. I bought that Life plugin, which lets you like sample anything.
Life plugin.
Yeah, by Excellent Audio.
Oh, right.
And I just recorded. My kid was smashing. He was smashing like these Tupperware containers, and so I was like, "Oh, that's a good percussion loop."
And which one is that?
That's this one here.
Okay.
I chucked some erosion on it and dizziness.
What's dizziness?
And I did a bunch of stuff in the plugin itself, and then I exported the audio.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dizziness is like an auto pan preset in Ableton.
I see. Right. Okay.
That's a cool way to get different types of percussion loops. That plugin is really cool.
Mm-hmm. And it makes it sound really wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a shaker thing. Yeah, don't be afraid with loops for like this kind of stuff. This erosion plugin's pretty sweet too. It kind of like excite stuff in the high end. And then yeah, I've watched some people produce in this genre. I noticed that they have like here's my main hat that's with an operator synth that I was talking about earlier when we were talking.
Oh, okay. The synth.
Yeah, the synth hat. Yeah,
the synth hat.
Yeah. So it's just white noise, and then you adjust the envelope.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So.
And then I have like a mid hat. Is this like a land?
Can you tell us about like what you're thinking about with the envelope and like how like because the white noise is literally just like psh, and then you just sound design that into like a hi-hat sound. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I learned this from that artist Ben Bomer who uses this a lot. And it just pokes through really well because it's white noise. But yeah, let's reset the envelope and we can try to design it again. Let's see, 0. What is this default at? Maybe I'll just make a new one. It's gonna sound like this, like I'm doing the wrong one. That's basically what white noise sounds like, and I have it triggering a note up there. But then we can adjust the envelope, adjust the attack, especially the sustain is what makes it give it that hat sound. And then the decay. The release doesn't do much because it's a short MIDI note.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Super cool, man.
Yeah, that was a cool trick I learned from him.
And it's cool because it's a synth drum, so you can just really customize as much. It's not you're not just limited to what a sample. Not to say that there's anything wrong with using a sample, but like
no, and like I used another sample, and I put it in that sampler plugin because I rarely use that sampler plugin in Ableton because I find it very intimidating. But it has this mode where you can go back and forth between the samples. So I found this ambience sample, and it's literally the playheads going back and forth to create like a...
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Cool.
And then I chucked it through like the rev plate.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this free plugin by Arturia that I found. I don't know. I just wanted to try it. I don't know if it's actually doing anything.
What is that UI?
I don't know. It's definitely like this is like if you want to sound like Pink Floyd, I guess.
Yeah. That's exactly the joke I was about to make.
It's cool though. Like let's listen to what it's doing. Like here, turn the reverb off. I don't know what's happening. I grabbed it and then I threw it on and then...
It sounds like some like random, like some like sample and hold business.
Yeah.
On, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then through the reverb?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you do have a random LFO there, right?
Do I?
That looks random.
Oh yeah. It's synced to that, yeah.
So
I guess you could put
maybe
it...
if you put a different LFO, it'd be like it'd be like... Woo,
you could
woo.
choose the wave type, yeah. Oh, there's sample and hold, you're right.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Weird
Cool.
though. Super funny.
And then I'm using the auto filter here. It's kind of like that's the automation that's coming in for the intro, and then I'm boosting the highs. But yeah, once I got into that mode of like I'm making this, and I got into especially in that break part, like I was like in the flow. And now I'm like doing another track, and I tried to do it last night.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I was like, I can't do. It's what but I think the thing I learned, and I have to remind myself by telling myself right now, is like you just have to show up, and even if you fail at doing something, at least you made the habit of showing up, because the next time I show up, it might be more successful.
Yeah, well, then you'll look back one day. I mean, sometimes I go back through my old banks of stuff, and I'm like, oh, like that day I kind of wrote something cool, even though that day maybe I didn't think it was cool. You come back and you're like,
yeah, your perception changes. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are we doing for time? What time is it?
50 minutes left.
Nice. Yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for tuning in, and Lander Live 2024 will get you 30% off Lander Studio yearly.
We're using a lot of plugins that come with that subscription.
Yeah, let's try to find more of them, because I definitely chucked a bunch on. So, this Core Compressor. This is a cool compressor plugin.
What were you putting that on?
I found a preset called House Piano, and then I kind of adjusted this thing.
And you put that on the keys?
Yeah, the keys bus.
Like the thing that's like beep, 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 beep. Oh, yeah. The bus. The keys bus.
Keys bus.
I see. Okay. That's cool. What is it doing to the sound? Can we hear what the effect it had on the...
You know, I'm not sure if it's doing much. It's just like a slight bus compressor kind of thing.
Okay. Joachim Bostrom asks, any kind of parallel compression going on? I always use it, otherwise my drums don't pop.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's check. I don't know if I did much, and I probably could.
Maybe we could do that right now.
I mean, if you think about Lander Effects beats, this is
Right.
technically parallel compression because I'm blending in the actual effect.
You're using a sort of one of those presets, right? As
Yeah.
tight and punchy.
Yeah, this one is just insane.
And that's a compressor, like a...
Yeah, it's like it automates a bunch of parameters underneath.
Mhm.
Let's listen to it
It makes
before and
it-
after.
It's an easy one to use.
Yeah.
Certainly, it does what it says on the tin, tight and punchy. So,
Yeah.
So let's hear it. What's it doing?
So and then I just copied another one, and then I put like a treble lift. So this is parallel compression, 12% of this preset. Let's listen before and after these two things. Tight and punchy. Treble lift. That's good.
I mean, when you put tight and punchy on, I really did notice.
That's got to be more, like
Things
if you
got
get this
louder,
plugin,
but-
it's just for this preset. It's so good.
Yeah.
This one.
But let's hear a bit more full on the drums though. Like, is this because this is I'm assuming on the drum bus we're looking at?
Yeah. So I don't put my kick in there because I want to
Oh.
like just isolate my kick.
Did you put any compression on the
On the drums?
or on the kick with the drums? Like,
I don't think so. Let's put the kick in there though. Yeah.
did you gain stage this? This Dakota is asking, is saying, I'm not sure asking or saying, but did it gain stage itself though?
Here's a cool trick you can use for this specifically. When I create a new track in Ableton, it automatically has this utility track, and I'm lowering the track by -6. So I put all my sounds before that, and then you can kind of use that to gain stage the sound if you want.
So in a way, yes, it did gain stage itself because
Yeah, because like when I'm producing in Ableton, if I don't have this, I tend to like just clip everything. I guess I could just put it on my master too, just like,
Yeah.
because if you clip the channel, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, even my MIDI tracks, it has a utility on it.
yeah. So you would create a default Dakota. You would create a default setting so that it shows
That's
up on
right.
every track automatically with a default setting. So that way it does gain stage itself.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that by just dragging the utility on, setting the value, and then right-clicking, and then save as default audio track or save as default MIDI track. That helped just kind of like making sure I'm not crushing stuff. But yeah, lots of automation. I was watching the guy from Disclosure produce a while ago, and he goes through, like, check it out on YouTube because this guy is insane, and all of the nuances that he does, you can barely hear them, but then when it adds up, it's just such a massive, interesting sound. So that's really inspiring for me when it comes to this type of music.
So Bonfire's asking, did you say a coupon name? Could you say it again, please?
Yes, it's Lander Live 2024. LANDRLIVE 2024 for Lander Studio Yearly. There's only a limited number available as well. So, we're not sure if we'll do this again. So grab that coupon and use it.
And then that'll help us, create a case.
Create a case for streaming twice a week.
Yeah. So head over to Lander, check it out. You use that code at the checkout, actually. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these Lander effects plugins, like this electric one, I put air on these pads. Let's see it. It's just adding a tiny bit of high end. That's with it boosted. I find they're great for bus processing. You just chuck it on and blend in a little bit of something, you know?
Oh, I love these plugins. Like
Yeah.
I'm not as much of a mixing expert as like, you know, the next guy, especially someone like you. So I love just throwing these on my mixes and just seeing like, okay, like here's kind of what I want for the
Yeah.
drum. Or like just being like, oh wow, like that improved the drum tone by a lot. So
Yeah, because it's not about numbers or anything. It's just about what you're hearing and if it sounds good relative to everything else. Like,
Mhm.
that's fine.
Mhm.
I think we covered almost everything. I'm not sure. Yeah, pedal point. This is just one beeping sound.
So it's just one note.
And then I obviously threw Crush Station on it.
Right. And then that was the inspiration for like the chord progressions built around that, right? So
It was mainly built around this piano thing.
okay.
And then I found that after and I put it on top
Oh.
just to kind of get some
okay.
movement. But
I see.
I think I found that first. Took that same sample, sampled it again.
I really like that melody. I really like that melody sample you came up with. I think it's really cool.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that was a happy accident.
I mean, those are the best kinds.
Oh
of
yeah, it's the
accidents, and
best feeling when you're like,
happens.
oh yeah, like, and then like last night trying to find another happy accident was just fucking sad.
You mean?
I mean, freaking sad. That's how I felt
Anthony.
about it. Sorry, guys. I'll bleep it out in post. We'll bleep it in post.
That's okay.
What's it? This is all of these are the same sample. Oh yeah, this one was cool. I don't know what I was doing here. This is like I automated this spike here. So I'm highlighting like a certain frequency that gives it a characteristic, and then I'm automating it based on the chord progression. This is kind of extreme.
That's cool.
Like, why
Well,
would-
that's kind of cool. Like, because if you're picking like a resonance, that's I guess adding a bit of resonance to like certain parts of the waveform, right? So that's really cool to like use as a sound design technique to play around with like what part of the sample is getting boosted, right?
Yeah, like that's like that's like one of the fundamentals of the notes that's playing,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of highlighting it based on the chord, so you can hear the chord shift.
Yeah, thanks, Shy.
Oh yeah, I've been really getting into these things, like
Just playing around with LFO.
LFO, automate something.
So cool.
You can automate
it's
anything. I have this like
endless
Galaxy
fun.
tape echo, and
Oh yeah.
it's automating that reverb pan. It just makes it huge. Like it's just going here.
Mm-hmm. So cool.
Yeah.
And it's just like the subtlest thing, and then you wouldn't even know to notice it, but it just does something with the space in the mix. Right?
Yeah, just making your sound really wide.
Mm-hmm.
I almost swore again. Just make your sound wide, you know?
Yeah, dude.
And then yeah, Need 73. I think I boosted the highs here. Love this plugin. This just like it brings stuff to life. This one. This is probably one of my favorites in the studio.
Super cool.
subscription.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was really fun. I'm glad I got to share this with everyone. Thanks for inspiring me through this process, because I think every time we make something, it ends up turning out really good. So
I think it should be on me to make the next one.
yeah, we'll do that. Yeah,
So
we'll bring in the next
I'll
one.
make something really weird.
Yeah,
and you're gonna help me mix it because you're way more of an expert of that.
yeah, down to do that.
Okay, that could be cool.
But yeah, everyone stay tuned for the next streams. We're streaming every week on Thursdays at 3 p.m. We've got some cool guests coming on talking about stuff from music theory to music promotion, AI stuff that we're going to get into in March. So yeah, really happy that everyone, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And there's lots of hearts there. Thank you, whoever's hitting that button. Smash that like.
Please.
Yeah,
Please
smash
the like button.
And yeah. Thanks again. Did I remember everything? Was that everything we were supposed to say?
I mean, come back.
Yeah, come back Thursday at 3.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Like.
If it's not a good time for you, shift your schedule around. And
I mean, if And yeah, check out what Liner has on Liner Studio. There's a lot of we use a lot of stuff from Liner Studio. We use other stuff too, but there's a lot that you can do with it. So
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Have a good Thursday evening.
We'll see you. We'll see you next
time.
week.
Yeah.